These are dwarf puffer fish, also known as pygmy puffer fish and pea puffer fish. And today we're going to take a look at the care needed so not only do they survive in the home aquarium, but thrive in there too. Dwarf pufferfish have become increasingly popular within the aquarium hobby. They originate from the Kerala region of southwest India, where they are found in the lakes and slow-moving rivers, where there's plenty of vegetation, sunken wood, and leaf litter. Their IUCN rating is classed as vulnerable. This is down to overfishing for the aquarium hobby and a loss of their natural habitat. They are an absolutely beautiful looking fish. They have this cheeky look about them. They reach sizes from 2 to 2.5 centimetres, which is 1 inch when they are fully mature. And they have colorations of an electric blue, green and yellow with dark green and black iridescent patches on their flanks and dorsal surfaces. Because they only top out at 2.5 centimetres, they do make ideal fish for small aquariums, but I personally wouldn't go any less than a 45 litre because they are so susceptible to ammonia spikes, and small tanks are really hard to keep the water pristine. Believe it or not, they can actually jump, so I would definitely keep that aquarium covered with a lid or a nice piece of glass or netting. They are really susceptible to ammonia spikes, so mechanical filtration is a must. You need a filter that's going to be capable to handle 4 to 6 times the volume of the aquarium per hour. But dwarf pufferfish don't like flow. So you need to either look at a powered sponge filter with a spray bar or a good hang on the back filter. A canister filter, personally, I wouldn't, because the flow will be way too much for them. Always make sure that your filter intake is covered with a sponge, because you do not want to lose those inquisitive puffers into your filtration system. When it comes down to substrate, I would look at a sand or a fine gravel. Pufferfish are really inquisitive. If you go for a larger gravel that can form little caves, they can go into those caves inquisitively and then not be able to get back out. When it comes down to hardscape, I'd look at rounded rocks, plenty of bogwood and leaf litter to give them that more natural feel. As for lighting requirements, pufferfish don't really like high lighting, so low level lighting is preferred. So that needs to be taken into consideration with plant choice. Plants like Anubias, Java fern, Java moss, some cryptocoryons are all great plants to add to your pufferfish aquarium. They will offer them sanctuary, places to investigate, and just add a more natural look and feel to their home. As I've already mentioned, dwarf pufferfish are really susceptible to ammonia, nitrite and nitrates. And because you're adding low level or low light level plants like Anubias and Java fern, they're not going to really strip out the nitrates too quickly. So it's always good practice then to add outdoor plants to the aquaria. Plants like peace lilies, pothos, plants that you can strip all the dirt off the roots and grow out of the surface of the aquarium, which will strip those nitrates down and the ammonia, so the water conditions are more suitable for your pufferfish. As for an air pump, I would definitely run an air pump. Pumping air into the aquarium will just help circulate the water and help keep it pristine. Dwarf pufferfish are a tropical fish and do require heating, so a heater is a must in pufferfish aquarium. They require temperatures from 23 to 28 degrees Celsius, which is 74 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit. They obviously require zero ammonia, zero nitrites. And nitrates, they can tolerate up to 50 parts per million, but less than 20 is preferable. And as I said, houseplants will help you keep the nitrate level at that point. They will acclimate to quite a wide range of water parameters, with pHs from 6.5 to 7.5 and a KH of up to 18 degrees. Dwarf pufferfish have a defense mechanism of puffing up to ward off predators. So when you're acclimating your dwarf puffers to the aquarium, it's best to try and keep them in the water. When you're adding them to the aquarium, try and do it in a jug rather than pouring them in a net. If you pour them in a net and they activate the defense mechanism, because they've puffed up out of water, your dwarf pufferfish can struggle then to deflate once they're in the water. So try and move them the best you can in a jug or in the bag that they arrived in. Once you've added your dwarf puffers, then you need to look at doing a parasite treatment. Dwarf puffers are quite susceptible to parasites when they've been moved from one tank to another or from the shop to your aquarium. So always look at doing a parasite treatment once they've been added to the aquarium. So now your puffers are in the aquarium and you have to start considering tank mates. But do you? Pea puffers really are better off kept as a species only fish. This is because they are fin nippers, so if you are going to add other fish, avoid slow moving fish like angels, gouramis, and also avoid frilly fish like betters and guppies and other live bearers. I would personally say don't add any tank mates to your pufferfish aquarium. If you're looking at cleanup crew, pufferfish can live side by side with Ottocinclus, but Ottocinclus mainly feed on algae, and because you're running your light at low level, there won't be enough algae there for the Ottocinclus. So if you are adding Ottocinclus to the aquarium, you need to supplement their diet with algae wafers. But also, when you're adding Ottocinclus, just be aware that the journey that Ottocinclus go through is quite vigorous, and they have a high mortality rate when you add them to the aquarium. So you need to head count those fish all the time, because if one dies, that's going to give you an ammonia spike and kill all your dwarfs. So personally, if you want to add cleanup crew, you can look at larger Amano shrimp. You can also look at adding some Neocaridina shrimp as well. But just remember that the pufferfish will actively seek to eat them, or some pufferfish will actually actively seek them out as a source of food. They're definitely on the Neocaridina babies, they will happily feast on them all the time. So when it comes down to a cleanup crew, unfortunately, the best cleanup crew for your dwarf puffers will be you. When it comes to feeding, dwarf puffers are prolific snail eaters. So it might be good practice to actually culture your own snails to make the food bill a little bit cheaper. Have a bucket with some snails in there and feed the bucket. The snails will breed and you can then take the snails out of there and feed them to your pufferfish. They will also eat live foods and the frozen variants. So you're looking at bloodworm, glassworm, mosquito larvae, brine shrimp, daphnia, even chopped up seafoods like mussels. But try and hold back from doing that too often, as a mixed varied diet is definitely better off for them. Dwarf pufferfish will not take dried foods or any kind of pellets, and if they do, again, try to refrain from doing that because it's not actually good for them. When it comes to breeding, it can actually be done in the home aquarium. Males have a more contrasting colour and they have more erect dorsal and ventral ridges, whereas the females are fuller bodied and their colours aren't as bold. The male will select a territory, which will more than likely be the Java moss that you've provided for him. He will attract the female by raising his keel and performing a little ritual dance. Now, spawning is quite vigorous and she will scatter eggs throughout the moss. Once the eggs have been scattered, he will scare the female away and he will raise the eggs himself or look after the eggs himself. Eggs take round about 5 days to hatch, and then a further week before they become free swimming. Once they become free swimming, it's best practice then to remove the male, otherwise he will predate on them. You can then feed them on baby brine shrimps or micro worms. Once you've removed the male, don't forget to do that parasite treatment again. Parasites like white spot are really infectious and they can wipe out a whole tank within a week. Now, if you want to know more about the parasite white spot, then watch this video next. I will see you there. Until then, take care.